This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadou, and tonight I'm here with
Akusia Oche.
Coming up, over the next 90 minutes, this year's BECE and WAEC examinations in limbo over a 50 million cedi debt owed to the West African Examination Council, WAEC, by the government. Also coming up, the death of 2 fishermen in Tema lead to an uproar in the fishing sector with a possible impact on the upcoming Homo War. And later on Eyewitness News, jurors in the Upper West region boycott court proceedings over the non-payment of allowances due them for more than 2 years. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. There would also be business in some 50 minutes from now. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations. We are in the Western region on Premier 100.5 FM. We are also on Beach 105.5 FM and Sky Power 93.5 FM, all of them in Takrady. In the Bono region, we are on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In our Ahafo region, we are on Hammers 106.5 FM in Goso. In Ashanti region, on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. Volta region, we are on Akpini Radio 96.7 FM in Pando, Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohwe. In Northern region, we are on Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. Upper East, we are on Word FM 88.3 in Zuarungu. Upper West on Westlink 88.1 FM in Laura. And Northeast region on Eagle 94.1 FM in Uwale. The show is also live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook and we are interactive. We are also on citinewsroom.com. To send us your views, go to Twitter, drop your message using the hashtag citinewsroom or tweet at Umaru Sanda. You can also tweet at Citi973. On WhatsApp, the number to send your message to is 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. Let's settle for details of our stories now. And the first one has to do with the education sector. The first exams you write in the Ghana, which is an external examination, is the Basic Education Certificate Examination, BECE. Then we have the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WAEC, which used to be the SSCE, written after senior high school. We are told now that the 2 exams or the 2 examinations may not come off this year. And this is because of government's indebtedness to the West African Examination Council, the body that organizes this annual examination. The minority spokesperson on education made a statement in the House of Parliament today when he spoke to journalists. Now, his deputy is Clement Apak. He is Member of Parliament for Bulsa South. Doc, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Umaru, thank you, and good evening to listeners, especially my constituents in Bulsa South.
Indeed, they are listening to us live in Sandema. Thank you for sending your regards to them. You are saying that we may not see BECE and WAEC written this year. Why?
Yes. Umaru, as you rightly stated in your opening remarks, as far as Ghana's educational system is concerned, we have terminal exams where students that we are preparing to rise through the academic ladder have to write exams at set intervals. So the first stage, as you and I know, is to write the BECE, and on the basis of that, you then go to the senior high school, and then you write WAEC before you then proceed to tertiary. Now, what has been happening over the last few years is that the government has constantly and consistently been indebted to the West African Examination Council. And this is the recognized body that we have subscribed to set, plan, execute, and grade these examinations that I have just mentioned. WAEC has a lot of responsibilities, and part of WAEC's responsibility is not just within the context of setting the questions, producing them, and making sure that the questions get to the examination centers. But WAEC usually will recruit and train and deploy invigilators, supervisors, and those who mark the scripts. Now, all of these categories that I've mentioned ought to be paid. And that is why the issue at hand is worrisome, because invigilators, supervisors, and examiners have not been paid as they ought to. And the reason WAEC has been unable to pay them is because government is failing to pay WAEC for fees, because WAEC charges fees to government, which has decided, rightly so, to absorb the examination fees for our students at both the basic level and the secondary level. So essentially, WAEC will be incapable of deploying all these categories of persons and professionals who help WAEC to deliver on its mandate to do the work, because they have not been paid.
Now, what this simply means is that it's a money issue.
Yes, simply put, it is a money issue. You see, we have known this not today, but last year, a similar situation almost occurred. In fact, you will remember that you and I had conversations around that. After we had made the issue public, largely from the NDC side of Parliament, as we are doing again, government had even come out to deny through the Deputy Minister for Education, only to later on quickly release 60 million Ghana cedis out of a request of about 100 million Ghana cedis, which was what gave WAEC the barest minimum to start the processes, and then later on, government paid. We are facing a similar situation as we speak.
Now, the problem is that they've not given the money to WAEC, which money WAEC would use for the operationalization or the operations. And so the examiners have not been paid. There's a possibility they may not show up. How long has this been happening for? Is it for just the last exams or previous examinations as well?
Well, I think there's always been, if you like, a lag in terms of government meeting its commitments to WAEC, and I would say to many other institutions, as has now become the norm. But for last year and this year, it looks like government has tended to wait to levels that create anxiety and even, tend to give the feeling to those of us in the space, the educational sector, of the real likelihood that these examinations could be affected in terms of the timeline. And I think that is the difference, because we can't say that it is only in the past 2 years, but what we can say is that the situation seems to have been exacerbated, where we are getting closer and closer to a turning point where, if care is not taken, the exams could truly be affected because of government's inability to meet its commitments to WAEC in a timely fashion. And I'm hoping that maybe perhaps as we are speaking, if government had listened to the earlier, commentary by my ranking member, something would have been done. But as it is now, we are yet to receive confirmation that something has been done. Perhaps if they could move very quickly to meet their commitment to WAEC halfway and then put in place the needed mechanisms to finish it, at least, as we like to say, half a loaf is better than none. But I would even argue that government ought to be able to find the resources to defray its indebtedness to WAEC, so that WAEC and the people who WAEC recruits to help execute this very important national exercise, which has to do with the future of this nation, clearly does not become jeopardized. I think that it would be in the national interest if institutions like WAEC and other critical agencies dealing with the human component of our society in terms of social interventions are prioritized in these difficult and self-inflicted challenges that we face as a nation.
Who has to be invited by the House of Parliament to come and answer questions on this? And who has to release this money?
Well, ideally, it has to be the Minister for Education, because as a member of the Education Committee, I know that the WAEC office in Ghana clearly always comes to Parliament as part of the agencies under the Ministry of Education to present its budget estimates to the Education Committee. And so consequentially, it should be the Ministry of Education. But you and I know fully well that the person who holds the purse on behalf of government, and in this case, the President of the Republic, is the Minister for Finance. So at the end of the day, regardless of what the Minister for Education would say or not say, it would all be predicated on the willingness and the ability of the Finance Minister to release monies to the Ministry of Education for onward remittance to agencies under the ministry, including WAEC.
Very well. Thank you so much. We'll keep an eye on that. But are you going to exercise any of your rights as a member of Parliament, though, to hold any of these officials to come answer questions on this matter?
Yes, we will. And as a matter of fact, we have always done that. I mean, if you were to check with the table office in Parliament and to see the number of questions that are filed on matters to do with education alone, it is breathtaking. Why the minister has not been showing agility in coming to respond to those questions is a matter for another day. But I can tell you that most of the challenges that we face in the educational sector and in the Republic of Ghana in general clearly can be placed on the doorsteps of the Finance Ministry, because most of the issues are funding related.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
It's a pleasure always.
That's Dr. Clement Park. He is Member of Parliament for Bulsa South and Deputy Ranking on the Education Committee of the House of Parliament. We'll be hearing from government, but that will be after this break. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Bro, what's up? I beg, where the Total Energy service station day for here?
Still up here. Tornado. Charlie. I beg. Make I take picture with you first, then I go show you the Total station. Today, Instagram go cry. Hey. Oh, about the directions. Go forward small. You go meet a watch seller. Santan. The Total station is right after.
Thanks, bro. But now you know be Total. It be Total Energies. You the bab.
Tornado. You do all. Quiet.
The time is here, starting 24th July. Buy fuel or lubricants from any Total Energy service station and win free amazing prizes instantly. Promo is valid while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Total Energies, energizing your future.
Hey, you ever buy credits where you get up to 20% of your money back before? Make I tell you about Vodafone's demo promo. See, anytime you recharge a demo, you get up to 20%, whether it be short code or your Vodafone cash wallet, or you don't use credit transfer to your number or someone else. And now it be high tech, so you don't use my Vodafone app or any payment app. However you do, Vodafone go send you up to 20% cash back. Into your Vodafone cash account. Reload here. Top up your airtime with 5 Ghana Cedi or more in Vodafone's demo promo. And receive 20% of your money back straight into your Vodafone cash wallet. Recharge and cash out in the Vodafone demo promotion.
Vodafone, further together.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Before we went on the break, we were telling you about the possibility of WAEC and BEC not coming off this year. And we were told that that's because of government's indebtedness, 50 million cedis to the West African Examination Council. We'll be hearing from the government on this matter, plus what's happening in Adisadel College. But before then, there's some other education-related stories that Akosia has for us.
The Ghana Education Service Directorate in the whole West District of the Volta region is allegedly charging teachers 200 Ghana cedis each to facilitate their promotions. Information available to Citi News suggests that teachers are supposed to hand over the said amount in a white envelope to their respective head teachers. The promotion supervision, as per Citi News sources, is expected to commence next week. According to some teachers in the district, the situation has placed them in an uncomfortable situation. Freduo has excerpts from a WhatsApp message circulated to the teachers regarding this matter.
Please, we are to inform promotion applicants on our staffs that work inspection starts on Monday. They are to give you, the heads, an envelope of 200 Ghana cedis each for feeding, transportation and risk for the 3-member committee traveling to work with them. More so, let us all remember to make sure they write their notes and get fully prepared for this task.
Meanwhile, the PRO of the Ministry of Education, Kwesi Kwarteng, in his reaction, described the said payments as illegal.
It's so unconventional and not authorized in any aspect. GS will never sanction that. So obviously, if any individual apparently soliciting for money from teachers before they promote them, clearly that is unacceptable and against the rules of GS. So far as the Ghana Education Service is concerned, there are criteria which are laid down for the promotion of teachers. One of them is the writing of the teacher promotion exams. It is unauthorized money, and we are going to forward it to the appropriate headquarters for investigation. And of course, when our investigations will determine what necessary actions we should take. But clearly, promotion is not based on any monetary considerations whatsoever. If you look at the supervisors and GS as it captures them as CISOs, how they operate. When it comes to their fueling of their motorbikes for supervision and other things, it's part of factored into their salary considerations, which is paid monthly.
Kwesi Kwarteng is a PRO of the Ministry of Education.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's talk about Adisadel College now. The Deputy Minister for Education and MP for Asin South, Reverend Tim Fojo, has been visiting that particular school today. We'll talk to him about what he has found and what decision has been taken by the policy persons in the education sector of Ghana. But before then, Reverend, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. We understand you lost your mom. Condolences for that.
Thank you very much, Omar.
Let's talk about WAEC briefly before we talk about Adisadel College. WAEC may not be able to conduct this year's BECE and WASI, and this is because of an indebtedness. We are told 50 million cedis earlier, but I'm just speaking more information that the amount was actually 219 million cedis, and that 83 million of it is in arrears. So it's not 50 million, but rather 83 million cedis. That's how much you have to pay WAEC before they can conduct this year's BECE and WASI. What do you know, first of all, as a president, maybe at the ministry as well, on this matter?
Thank you very much, Umaru. On the matter of BEC, I wish to state emphatically that all arrangements to begin BEC on the 7th of August are in place and nothing has changed. The BEC will be conducted by WAEC unabated. Yes, there were some concerns of indebtedness that was brought to our attention, and that matter between the Ministry of Education and WAEC having engaged, as of yesterday, an amount of 40 million cedis had been disbursed paid to WAEC to support them in their operations. The relationship Ghana Education Service, or for that matter, Ministry of Education, has with WAEC is one that is continuous. And so for a continuous engagement, there will definitely be, at any point in time, some form of indebtedness. And there are always also some form of payments that are always also being done to ensure that WAEC is well resourced and WAEC has the necessary resources it takes to put in place the necessary logistics to conduct the various examinations that they have been mandated to conduct. So this year's BEC is going to commence on the 7th of August, and nothing has changed. And so that is assurance that...
You sound very confident, but if their money is not given to them, they cannot pay their invigilators and all of that.
Very much so. WAEC requires resources to operate, and for that matter, we are always minded to ensure that regularly payments do go. Of course, at some particular point, you would find that we would make some payments and some outstanding will be there. There might be some arrears. But optimally, to ensure that they have what it takes to conduct their examinations, we have always made available to them the resources they need. And as I indicated, 40 million cedis as of yesterday had been paid to WAEC. A lot of engagement had also gone on. And so,
as of yesterday, so that reduces the debt to what? Because the information I have is 83 million cedis. It moved from 219 million to 83 million. Are you saying that what the 40 million is out of the 219 million, or is out of the arrears now of 83?
As per your narration, you took it from 200 and then you narrated it to 80, and then now, as I said, this 40 has been paid. Whereas I cannot confirm the 200 and the 89 narration. What I can say on authority is that we have made payment of 40 million cedis to WAEC as of yesterday. That does not mean that the 40 million has gone to totally and absolutely settle whatsoever arrears that we may have with WAEC. But that is also to ensure that WAEC is resourced to conduct the examination we're looking forward to. We've engaged WAEC, and we have had the strongest assurance that as this payment has gone, whatever resource they need is going to be in place, and the examination is going as scheduled, and nothing is going to change on that.
Very well. Thank you so much for that assurance. Now, let's talk about what you've been busying yourself with today. You went to the Adisadel College following that video that went viral, in which video we saw a student assaulting another student in the school. What measures have you gone to take since you went there? What new announcements are there to share with us?
Omaro, since that viral video came to our attention on the Adisadel assault case, it's quite an unfortunate action, one that is not expected to have been done, and one would have even reported that even when it occurred, would have expected that even when it occurred, a report would have probably been made. But all that there were shortcomings in all that. So immediately the matter came to attention to the viral video. We invited the headmaster to Accra in the company of the Director General of GES, where meetings were held in my office to ascertain the fact and to also assess the initial sanctions and measures put in place at the school and regional level. We made some reviews. Just one review, principally at the time that the matter came to the attention of the school head, he suspended all the students involved, including the victim, and also suspended the housemaster of the house in question. We thought that the victim should not be on suspension for failure to report the incident, which is not right, but for such an injury to have been sustained and whatsoever circumstances yet to be established, for which he was not confident enough to report such a matter, and close to a week to his starting as WASI, it's not a good time to suspend the victim for him to be victim twice. So I overturned that decision, but all other decisions he had initially taken stand until further investigation and pending conclusion of the investigation. But immediately I took the injured student to the hospital to ensure thorough medical examination was administered to him and treatment given. And thankfully, when the lab results and CT scans were assessed by the doctors, they certified that indeed no harm or damage whatsoever that is of concern has sustained, and therefore they discharged him as fine and well. That is the good news to start with. So he was reintegrated back to campus and given all the psychosocial support we directed he be given. The other student involved, particularly the one who perpetrated the crime. Yes, the whole thing is that if you're a student and you flout any disciplinary code, yes, the GES disciplinary code and procedures may apply, but the part that infringes upon specific parts of the law will also take its course in that respect. There are repercussions and consequences for every action and misbehavior in line with the law. So, Attorney General's office is prosecuting this case, and the Ghana Police Service also assisting with investigations, and we have directed the school authority since the time we met to be cooperating well with them, and since they have been cooperating. So although the students were asked to be on suspension, they are also being supervised to ensure that they are available to respond to the calls of the Ghana Police Service, and they are available to cooperate with the law enforcement agency until the matter is fully concluded by law. And so that is also going on. When I visited the school this morning, initially I could see that their spirits were down, the general student body, the morale was low, but I had the occasion to meet the entire student body and admonish them of the wrong behaviors that they need to turn away from any related tendencies, and reminded them of the purpose and the future that is bright ahead of them, and that the rules are made to protect them in their future, for which they all have to be abiding. And you could see the remorsefulness on their faces. So we have also asked them that a culture of non-reporting incidents is one that will not be condoned. Bullying must be a thing of the past. Never again shall bullying become countenance on that campus, every other campus. And I encouraged them. By the time we were leaving the campus, they were in high spirit. They were sound mind. They were jet up. Teaching and learning as we speak is going on at Adisadel campus. And I had the occasion also to meet the headmaster, the teachers, and the management of the school, also to point out our initial observations for whatsoever that may have occasioned such an incident. And even without their notice for that period, it calls for a lot of reforms in the disciplinary system and its provision. So we had discussions on that, and I can assure you that Adisadel campus is fine and well, high spirit. The final year students are preparing to study their exam. They have the psychosocial support in place for them. And so the environment is positive to support teaching and learning. And so parents must be well assured.
Now, it took you to go take the boy to school.
To the hospital.
Yeah, to the hospital. This would have happened some weeks ago, and it came public days ago. If it took you to move from Accra as minister, go all the way there to pick that boy and send him to school, that means that something is wrong in the management of such issues. Would you say that the school authorities, the management of this particular issue has not been the best? And I would want you to use that opportunity to speak to other school authorities who may encounter a similar incident on what steps they should be taking.
Definitely, if everything had been well, we would not be at this point that we are. And so, whereas we are isolating this case and handling it with its uniqueness and within the merits that it is, we're also saying that if there be any other manifestations of indiscipline similar or related to this happening in any of over 900 SHS and TVET institutions, this must be a turning point. This must be a paradigm shift. Of course, I won't jump the gun to preempt what totally may have gone wrong and what could have been done better, because we will soon be privy to the comprehensive report, which should be ready tomorrow, and we will speak further to that, and that will inform even measures we are going to further put in place. But this must be a wake-up call to all stakeholders. This must be a wake-up call to all stakeholders, school leaders, teachers, house-masters, students, parents. All of us have a role to play in ensuring that when the rules that we put in place are adhered to, and the disciplinary standards of our students are uplifted. So that is what I would say for now. But to assure you, the full-scale investigation will soon be concluded, and the facts of the matters will fully be laid out, and we'll discuss it.
Very well. We hope that this is not repeated. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
That's the Honorable Reverend Ntim Fojo. He's Member of Parliament for Asin South, I beg your pardon, and Deputy Minister in charge of Education. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's return to the story we started with, which has to do with WAEC, the government's indebtedness to WAEC, and the possibility that we may not see WASI and BEC written this year. The minister has just given us an assurance that money has been paid and that WAEC would conduct the BEC and the WASI. But let's hear from WAEC itself, the West African Examination Council. Winfred Ampiao is the Public Affairs Officer. You're welcome to Eyewitness News, madam.
Thank you very much, Omar Sander.
Tell us what the backstory to this indebtedness is. Government is supposed to make some payments to you. We are told that these payments have not been made. Please confirm or deny this news for us.
Okay. So I would say that we have received some amount of money that would enable us conduct the exam for both BEC and then WAST. However, there's a payment plan to pay the others, the rest. So far we've received 10.5 million Ghana cedis to be able to conduct BEC, and that of WAS we've also received 40 million Ghana cedis. And this amount will enable us take care of the pre-exam and then during the conduct of the exam itself. So we're looking forward that we'll be able to receive the other part. However, I would want to assure the public that, yes, we are in the position to conduct both exams for this year.
So 55 million cedis in total?
Yes.
When was this payment made?
I would have to cross-check, but okay. I know for a fact that we have received 40 million for the conduct of WAS for school candidates, and then we've received 10.5 million Ghana cedis for the conduct of BEC.
All right. Is this for the payment of arrears or it is for the payment of this year's exams?
It is for the payment for this year's examination. So as I indicated, what we've received will enable us take care of the pre-exam activities and then the main exam itself. If you look at our breakdown, we know that we're supposed to spend, like for BEC, a rough estimate of 18 million Ghana cedis, and we have received 10.5. There's a payment plan to receive other funds before the end of the exam. So we're looking forward to that also. And then if you take that of WAS, the total cost for just the pre and then the conduct of the exam itself would take us to 63.5 million Ghana cedis, and we have received 40 million Ghana cedis.
All right. The BC, did you say 18 million?
Yes, 18.
You've got 10.5, so you're left with some 7 million.
We're left with about 7.5.
Yeah. With the WASI, you are expecting 63 million. You have received 40.
63.5.
Okay,
and
so
we have received 40. But Omar, let me state that this cost that we're talking about is the pre-examination cost and then the during. So this is for, let's say, up to the end of the conduct of the examination.
I get that.
That is the cost.
So I just wanted to understand something, which means that if you don't get the outstanding 23 and the outstanding 7.5, you may not be able to conduct the exams. That is what it means, because it is part of the pre and the exams date, up to the point where you collect the exam papers from the students who have finished writing and you said stop work.
Yes, but as I also indicated, we already have, like, there's a conversation ongoing. I'm not privy to details of it, but I know that there's a payment plan, which we are very certain that we'll be able to receive all the outstanding payments before even the end of the conduct of the exam. So we are certain, from our position, we are certain that we'll be able to conduct the examination.
And post-exams, you would also have a budget for that. What are the discussions around that? What budget are you working with? And I'm sure that means how much you pay people to mark the script, transport, and all of that after the exams.
So for that I'm only giving you. So if you take let's say supervision and invigilation, we are expected to spend 6.3 million Ghana cedis. And then for depot keeping, that's officers who would man the various depots where question papers will be kept. We also expected to spend 4 million cedis. The printing of the question papers is going to cost us 7.7 million cedis. This is for BEC.
Okay, so I get a point. So my point is that, so everything you're talking about, there's two budgets, the 80 million plus the 60 million, is for the preparation towards the exams to the day that the exams is written. It does not cover the post-exams. I want to know what the budget for the post-exams is. Do you have that figure readily available?
I don't have that figure readily available at the moment.
All right,
but
so
I have that just the pre.
Okay.
To the conduct.
All right. What about arrears? What is the government's indebtedness to WAEC?
Well, regarding the arrears, Umar, you have to pardon me. I would have to just confirm because I only have figures for how much we have received because I thought our conversation would just be around the conduct of this exam, looking at what issues trended. So I don't have figures whether they are arrears or not, but I know that for this particular exam, we are in the position to conduct it. So I won't be able to speak on the arrears.
All right, let's leave it here then. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you too, Maru.
That's Winifred Ampiao. She is Public Affairs Officer at the West African Examination Council, WAEC. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Let's move on to some other stories, but that would be after this break.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Whether I'm passing by the food market, visiting the salon, or filling up my tank for a spontaneous adventure with old friends in a new city, when asked, cash or card, it's always card for me. I switched from cash to card for all my payments with MasterCard. Now I get to do what I enjoy with ease.
Switch from cash to card for all your payments with MasterCard. MasterCard, the secure and convenient way to pay.
When shopping for a dress, you say,
of course, a low burst line, a little tight by the hips, covered sleeves, off shoulder, definitely.
But when buying anti-malarial drug, you say,
is it not malaria? Give me whatever is available.
Choose your malaria drugs the same way you choose your dress. Always ask for Coartem. It's also available in cherry-flavored dispersible tablets for children. Don't gamble with malaria. Choose right. Choose Coartem. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malaria testing should be done before treatment. This advert is FDA approved.
Bro, what's up? I beg, where the Total Energy service station day for here?
Still up here. Tornado. Charlie. I beg. Make I take picture with you first, then I go show you the Total station. Today, Instagram go cry. Hey. Oh, about the directions. Go forward small. You go meet a watch seller. Santan. The Total station is right after.
Thanks, bro. But now you know be Total. It be Total Energies. You the bab.
Tornado. You do all. Quiet.
The time is here, starting 24th July. Buy fuel or lubricants from any Total Energy service station and win free amazing prizes instantly. Promo is valid while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Total Energies, energizing your future.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's go to Tema now. There's news that 2 fishermen have died, and the suspicion is that they were killed by the persons who allegedly did the killing, whose vessels may have run into their boat. That's the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has denied that particular claim. Rickster Ni Ama Amafio is the secretary of the National Fisheries Association of Ghana, and he's joined us. He has interest in this particular story and knows more about it. Rickster, welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, Umaru. For some time now, I'm still down as the secretary of the National Judicial Association of Ghana.
Oh, really?
I'm still an executive member of the interim committee, but I am trying to do other things, so I've taken a back seat a bit.
Okay. I'll just call you a fisherman's. I'll call you a fisherman's son who is engaging in fishing.
Fisherman is a fisherman anyway.
What's happening in Tema?
Well, early morning I had a call that two fishermen had died. Apparently, one of them is a distant relative, a cousin's son. And we are in the close season, but towards the Omowo, we have a number of events, and one of it is what we call Chiliawawu. We have two quarters for the indigenous Tema citizens. One quarter is Awudu, one quarter is Ashaman. So towards the Omowo, they go for fishing to hook red snappers, what we normally call chili. And so the night before the hooking line competition is more of a competition, but it's also part of the tradition, because that's the fish for the festival. They go for what we call bait, and normally it's supposed to be sardinelles or mackerel. So some of those who use the net are selected to go for bait. And because we are in the close season, we expect that you go through some protocol to have clearance so that you don't violate the laws also. So when I was called that some of the fishermen who went for the bait had died in what was termed as accident at sea, and that one Gapua stock ran into them and crashed the canoe, and the canoe split. And then when the fishermen fell in the water, two of them could not survive it. Apparently, they got trapped in the net, so they couldn't swim out, and then they died in the process. So they brought all of them to the harbour. And that's what we've been battling with all day, because the youth are not happy. They believe that this is the custom, and that is an attempt to enforce the close season that led to this. And we've had the MP issue a statement on the floor of Parliamentary. We had a mayor held emergency dissect meeting. And my information is that he formed a 5-member committee to look into what really led to this, so that we'll have some exactitude as to what happened, whether it was deliberate or whether it was an accident. But we hear Gapua denying that none of their talk had been involved in any form of accident. And then from some quarter, they have confirmed that, yes, it was a Gapua talk, but it was an accident. The fishermen involved had said that, well, these people were after us, we had cast our net, and then they ran into us. What baffles me from where I sit is that for every accident at sea, the first thing you do is to report the matter to Ghana Maritime Authority. I'm yet to have confirmation that has happened. Secondly, the question some of us are asking is that if indeed it was an accident, then why did the talk abandon fishermen at sea? So if it was an accident at sea, then they should help at least save the lives that were lost. So they should help get the people and bring them to land. Besides, some other fishermen have been arrested or were arrested. I don't know if they've been released now for fishing illegally because we are in the close season. So there are a number of issues that are coming up, and it's getting the youth agitated over the incident that happened.
Would this have any consequence on the upcoming Homowo?
I'm not sure it will, because we are trying to handle the two differently.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you for speaking to us. So that's Rickster Ni Amafio. He's in the fishing industry, has an interest in that particular sector, just explaining to us what he knows so far over there. Let me also say that the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has issued a statement signed by Abna Sewa Opoku Fosu, who is Marketing and Public Affairs Manager at Tema, and they have denied the claims that it was their vessel that was involved in an accident with a fisherman's boat, which led to their death. And this particular vessel allegedly fled the scene and left the two to their fate. The Gapua has denied that claim. Let's speak to the Municipal Chief Executive for Tema, Johan Ama Ashite. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, and a good evening to your cherished listeners.
As MUSEC Chair, what briefing do you have on the incident, and how are you dealing with it?
Yes, so just when this matter came to my attention, quickly after visiting the scene and really getting some form of eyewitness information, I have to really convey a MUSEC meeting because it's a security matter, so that we are able to actually go to the bottom of the issue and be able to understand what happened. So we actually summoned all the major stakeholders to MUSEC meeting so that they can give us a form of briefing for us to understand what happened. But the information we're taking from all the stakeholders were conflicting information. So clearly, it's a little bit difficult for us to really understand exactly what happened, because normally, during close season, around this time, there's a special task force. And the task force actually comprises of DPH security, the Navy, the police. All of them go together to ensure that this season activity is actually enforced. But interrogating all of them, there were a lot of, let's say, discrepancies or differences in all the narrations that came. And so because of that, we deemed it necessary to form an independent fact-finding committee among MUSEC, the committee involved. 5-member committee, we have NIB, we have CID, we have NADMO, we have FIRE, and then we have the Assembly Council himself to be on this committee. And then they have a 7 days period as part of the terms of reference so that we can have a report to really understand exactly what happened. This fateful dawn that led to the unfortunate lives of 2 lives of the fishermen. So this is what MUSEC have done, and then after 7 days we'll get the full report, and based on that, then we can really understand exactly what happened. And then whoever is found culpable will definitely have to go to the full recourse to the law.
I see. Have you been able to calm the fishermen down, though? Because clearly they'll be unhappy that 2 of their own were killed at sea and they have suspects.
Well, it's not an easy matter, but I think that after the MUSEC meeting, all of us MUSEC meeting all went to meet the Wolacheme, or let's say the elders at the Kenu Basin, and we let them understand that we are investigating the matter. We also followed up to commiserate with the bereaved families, the whole of MUSEC members, for them to also know that, yes, we are not resting on our oars. We are actually investigating this matter, and we also assure them that whoever is found culpable after the investigation will definitely go to the full recourse of the law. And I think that it has helped to an appreciable level.
Thank you so much for speaking to us.
You're welcome, sir.
That's Johan Ama Ashite. He is Municipal Chief Executive for Tema. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka, in Accra. We are also around the globe on citynewsroom.com. Let's go to the courts now.
The Supreme Court has dismissed an application by James Judicial seeking to quash a decision of the High Court not to allow further disclosures in the criminal trial of the Adisadel MP. The lawyers filed an application on grounds that a trial judge erred when she denied them an application to direct the Attorney General's office to make further disclosures. His lawyers contend that a judge erred because his application was not heard. He further argued that the judge took the decision by relying on the document produced by the Attorney General, which was not deposed to by an affidavit. The court, after considering the arguments from the 2 parties, dismissed the application as without merit. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court also raised concerns about the continuous absence of James Judicial at the Apex Court when he files applications. At the start of proceedings, the court observed that the Adisadel MP was absent. Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono then noted that she has observed a pattern where the Adisadel MP files an application and does not appear on the date of hearing. Now, she then questioned the lawyer, Justin Tariwaya, on the whereabouts of his client, who could not provide the answer. The lawyer apologized to the court. Now, the Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokono, has refused a request by the third accused person in the trial involving Minority Leader Atuforsen for the case to be transferred from the court presided over by Justice Ifeasewa Asaribuchi. The request to the Chief Justice followed an incident in the courtroom where the accused, Richard Jakpa, was nearly denied a request to use the washroom. Dissatisfied with the position of the judge when he made the request, Mr. Jakpa applied to the Chief Justice to reassign the case to another judge. But in a letter read in court on Thursday, the Chief Justice refused the request. Meanwhile, an application by the Minority Leader for the judge to recuse herself on grounds of bias is yet to be considered.
Now, more in the court, or from the court, a banking specialist, Alexander Kofi Mensah Mold, Alex Mold, has told an Accra Economic and Financial Court that a letter signed by Dr. Kezela Atuforsen requesting for letters of credit to be established by the Bank of Ghana in favor of Big C Trading LLC of Dubai is not an application for letters of credit. Dr. Kezela Atuforsen has been accused of causing financial loss to the state for allegedly causing an LC to be established in favor of Big C for the supply of 30 ambulances without authorization. Alexander Kofi Mensah Mold, who testified in court on Thursday, explained under cross-examination by the Attorney General Godfrey Dame that whereas the Ministry of Finance needed to write to the BOG requesting for LCs to be established, the letter alone cannot trigger the establishment of an LC. The former Chief Executive Officer of the GNPC had told the court the letter signed on behalf of the Finance Minister by Minority Leader Dr. Kezela Atuforsen requesting for the establishment of letters of credit in favor of Big C General Trading LLC of Dubai was only a first step in the process of establishing of the LCs and cannot constitute payment. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's talk about the running of the courts now. A critical part of the judicial system is the Jurors system. If you go for a murder trial especially, you would see a group of people, not odd numbers most of the time, well actually they have to be odd numbers, who sit in one corner listening to the trial and who would make a very critical determination in the case. We are told that those who are supposed to do this job in the Upper West region are on strike. Hakim Suleimana is the foreman general of the Jurors in UWA. You're welcome to Eyewitness News, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity once again.
First of all, are we even supposed to know who you are as jurors? I mean, you're supposed to sit there quietly in the courtroom and listen and take your decision. Now we are hearing about you. You are unhappy with some particular things that are happening. Tell us what's happening.
Yes. We've been with the system, some of us 2-3 years ago, and we've been doing our work diligently, as the nation demands us to do. It is a national call that all public servants can be called to come and perform some of these duties. And on that score that we were invited to be part of members of jury in the High Court to determine, like you said, some of the cases that involve rape, murder, and manslaughter, among others.
Now, go ahead.
Yes, we started this work, and then the last time we were paid, it ends in October 2021. And then from November 2021 up to date, we have not received any stipends. You know, some of us too are from communities. They commute to the courts and back. So we followed the authorities severally to no avail. So we even had the opportunity to talk to my lord, the High Court judge in WA. We also spoke with the principal state attorney and then the bar association leadership. And then they were all there when we gave the signal that this is what is happening, and then we are not comfortable with what is going around, because we are reliably informed that other regions, almost all the regions, have been paid some months of a sort to the neglect of Upper West region. And we think that we've been unfairly treated. Because if they've also given us some months, fine. But that is the main reason why we have notified the court. And the court yesterday, we informed them. We went to court all right. We apologize for the actions that we were going to take, but we have no option than to do that. So we spoke to the High Court judge. He was seated, and then he called the jury members. We came out. Their leader, myself, I stood up and then put our concerns before him, and then senior lawyers who were in court. And they appreciated our efforts. And we said that with this, we are only sending the signal that try in as much as possible to also listen to us and then solve our problems. We are not even saying pay all. If you pay something small, we'll continue to come. That is our main problem for registering our displeasure.
How much are we talking about?
It is unfortunate that I can't mention any amount because some are in one case, some 2 cases, some 3 cases. So the amount varies.
How much?
But this amount will stem from November 2021 up to date. So it is huge.
How much, and if you don't mind sharing with us, do you have to be paid per case?
When you attend court, you are paid 100 cedis. And when you sit in a case, they pay you another 100.
What's the difference between attending court and sitting on a case?
Yes, the attendance is your T&T. But the sitting is for the work that you have done in court.
So if you went for a hearing, you would have to be paid 200 cedis?
Yes. If it means you have attended and you have sat in a case.
I'm just wondering how you can sit without attending. Can you separate the two?
Yes, there are certain instances where all the jury members will be invited to come for empaneling into new cases. Those who attend, all of them might not be empaneled to handle cases.
Okay.
So in that case, their names will not be found in the sitting allowance.
Okay, that's for usually the first day of the case where the empaneling is happening. All right, I get it now. Who has to make this payment to you?
Certainly, the money comes through the judicial service.
Have you written to the judicial service? Because I remember a few weeks ago, I think your colleagues in Kumasi and was it Tema, they also embarked on a similar strike.
Yes. We said it is a national duty. Once it is national duty, let's not put the lives of the accused persons who have been on remand for so long a time. So that let's keep on going. I'm praying that they will pay. So we went to the High Court judge severally, not once, not twice. But we also reported the matter to the Bar Association leadership. Then we also informed the state attorney. We said, no, this time we have been writing, but if it comes to a point that we will write. But this is the first point that we have registered, that we have sent a signal.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
I'm grateful for the attention.
That's Hakeem Suleimana. He is foreman general of Jurors in WA who have decided to leave the courtroom. They cannot do the job anymore, they say, unless their monies are paid them. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Up next, we have business and then Point Blank. Please stay.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Hello and welcome to Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. My name is Akusia Ochre. Let's settle for the details. Now, as independent power producers, IPPs, meet over rising energy debts, industry players have renewed calls for inefficiencies in the sector to be addressed. The IPPs are holding a crucial emergency meeting after governments failed to settle the arrears. The debt has increased from $2 billion to about $2.3 prompting today's emergency meeting to find strategies over the non-payment. But energy think tank Africa Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, makes the point that government's lack of commitment to fix energy sector leakages is alarming. Benjamin Boache is executive director of ASEP.
I think it's multiple factors. We have so much inefficiency in the sector, which we have been complaining about. Not much effort has been in place to actually reduce the inefficiencies in the sector. And by inefficiencies, you're only talking about how much goes to waste because of aged equipment and transformers, as well as how much power is stolen by some consumers who don't actually pay for the power they consume. And also the revenue collection effort, those who are actually billed by ECG, but they are not able to collect revenues for it. So those are some of the areas that generate the waste and the inefficiency. So we need to find ways to address that, to make sure the power generated can be consumed and actually paid for by the consumer.
That was Benjamin Boache, Executive Director of Africa Center for Energy Policy. Now, the Institute of Energy Security, IES, is concerned that government's failure to pay debts owed the independent power producers would not only affect the economy, but also deter potential investors.
If we wait for them to shut down the system, it won't just have economic impact on us. It also comes with reputational damage as a country that we are unable to handle our power sector and even pay people who give us power. It may suggest to other potential investors that we are not a reliable partner, and they won't attempt planting a generating system in our country. So we must be very careful about this situation. There's also the suspicion that part of the same inadequate revenue collection is diverted for other uses. And so you don't have that money sitting in the vault. It becomes a challenge for government. And who caused it? It's government who caused that. And so whatever it is, government must find a way and cough up that money so that you and I can be assured of consistent, reliable supply going forward.
You heard a voice of Nana Moisi VII, the Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security. Now, analysts are predicting that even though there was a significant 4.2% real GDP growth in the first quarter of 2023, the economic activity for the rest of the year is expected to be unimpressive. Researchers at GCB Capital in a report further suggest that a continuous downturn raises concerns about a potential economic slowdown.
Government is not going spend enough to stimulate growth as we've seen in times past. An example is the fact that industrial growth is contracted in the first quarter, really. Even when the services sector and agriculture sector recorded impressive growth, when the industrial sector contracted, and construction is a major component of that sector, or the subsector of that industrial sector that contracted. Manufacturing activities and things like that are all depressed, really. Now, all of those construction, to a large extent, is government-driven, even if there is some private sector activity in there. And then you are having manufacturing, which is mostly private sector-driven, and they will depend on the availability of credit in the system. But then you look at the Bank of Ghana data again, and then total advances for the period, half year 2022-23, and then, of course, credit to the private sector, even when growing, is growing at a much slower rate than same period last year.
Courage Boti is research lead at GCB Capital. Now, the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture says it is working towards meeting its target of generating $1.5 billion from the tourism sector. The tourism and hospitality industries were badly hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. However, industry players say the sector is gradually revamping after the economic crunch that followed, Sector Minister Dr. Mohammed Awal assured that the government will equip the hospitality sector to boost growth.
Achieved 1.1 million tourists, external international arrivals in this country. That gives us an amount of $3.3 billion. Post-COVID, Ghana's recovery is really, really good. While the African average recovery is 61%, Ghana's recovered about 85% post-COVID pandemic. We put in place a number of strategies to achieve this 1.5 billion. Each tourist spends an average of about $3,000. So we think that we can achieve that. The recent Kwame Nkrumah refurbishment modernization. If you go to Kwame Nkrumah now, you will see queues of both Ghanaians and foreigners. Kwame Nkrumah alone is going to give us 1 million domestic arrivals. And then we've done a lot of our promotional activities around the world. USA last year gave us about 37% of our arrivals. That's the number one, followed by Nigeria. We are ramping up our activities across the world. So our promotional activities, promotion of tourist sites, doing religious tourism, educational tourism, school tourism, corporate tourism.
Dr. Mohammed Awal is the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture. The Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana stressed the pressing need to increase the number of community pharmacies in the country to enhance accessibility to quality services across the country. President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, Dr. Samuel Donko, has been speaking to Citi Business News on the sidelines of a community pharmacy business seminar.
Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana is looking at a win-win situation for both the financial institution, which is Access Bank, and Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, with specific emphasis on pharmacists who intend to expand their business or open new pharmacies. But there's a drive to help a lot of pharmacists to be able to open their own pharmacies. That's why you realize that from the topic, owning a community pharmacy and building a sustainable community pharmacy. And that cannot happen without a strong financial support. So we look forward to a very good collaboration that will bring in Access Bank to enable pharmacists who are contemplating or currently in a situation where they intend to open their own pharmacies to be able to do so. And it is part of our strategic deliverables to get so many pharmacists to be able to open their own pharmacies.
President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, Dr. Samuel Donko. Finally, despite earlier struggles to meet monthly revenue targets in the first quarter of 2023, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority says it has begun exceeding its monthly targets. The Commissioner of Customs Division, who expressed optimism about meeting their annual target by the end of the year, says the necessary measures which have been put in place to smoothen the process are yielding positive results. The Commissioner of Customs Division, Alhaji Seidu Idrisu Idisa, spoke to Citi Business News. Well, that's it for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. It was powered by a most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Akosia Ochre.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Hello, Auntie Araba. Hey, Bugger, how are you doing today? I want to buy Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, but I don't have enough money. So what are you going to do? Can you give me the big size? You know, as for me, I'll pay the balance later.
Today, no credit. I haven't sold much this morning. If you don't have enough money for the big size, why don't you try the 120 gram pack?
There's a 120 gram pack? Introducing the new Pepsodent Cavity Fighter in 120 gram pack size. More affordable and convenient. Get yours today from any supermarket near you. Every smile matters. This advert is FDA approved.
Pay attention, all my Africans and African Americans in the diaspora, plus my white brothers and sisters. What if I told y'all the most trusted real estate company in Ghana, Sukasa, would like to take y'all on a nationwide tour, highlighting prime real estate and investment opportunities. Sukasa builds affordable luxury homes with 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. Come get the real value for your money, plus they have very convenient payment policies with 100% guaranteed cash back. This fully gated or Grandson communities include malls, cinemas, and all social amenities, plus 24-hour security. All you gotta do is sign up for the tour for a measly couple $1,000 $1,000 and come see what could be yours in real life. The African dream is alive. Contact Sukasa on 030-296-0865 or 055-369-7886 at Sukasa GH on all social media platforms. Email info@sukasa.com.gh. The Sukasa experience is also bringing on board a bunch of other property developers, which means patrons get a variety of options to buy from. This is powered by Government of Ghana, Beyond the Return Secretariat, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Works and Housing, Diaspora Affairs, the Office of the President, British High Commission, and the UK Chamber of Commerce. Sukasa, building on trust.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
My name is Umaru Sandama. Tonight on Poemland, you must have seen a number of commentaries. Tampi has been legalized. Weed has been legalized. Marijuana has been legalized. Well, this is flowing from an amendment of the law by the House of Parliament a few weeks ago. The City Breakfast Show did an extensive discussion on what exactly was legalized and what the consequence of the legalization was. But people still had their own commentary, misinterpretation if you like, and that actually is a source of worry for the Speaker of the House of Parliament, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin. So today, as part of business of the House, we took time to clarify to Ghanaians what exactly the House of Parliament did with the herbs. So let's listen to the Speaker, the Honourable Right Honourable Speaker Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin.
Clarify some misinformation that is peddling in the country. This is in respect of the matters arising out of the passage of the Narcotics Control Commission Amendment Bill 2023. Honourable members, I am before you today to address a matter of national importance that has recently found its way into public discourse. My attention has been drawn to a series of media reports and various social media discussions revolving around the legality of cannabis, the use of cannabis in Ghana. It appears that there is a significant misunderstanding or misinterpretation of the nature and intent of recent legislative changes. The subject at hand, has its origins in the Narcotics Control Commission Act, passed by Parliament in 2020, Act 1019, which served to modernize and strengthen our country's approach to narcotics control. This legislation, as noted in the memorandum to the bill, was born out of diligent research, extensive consultation, and careful consideration of our societal realities. Recent reports, however, seem to have misunderstood or misrepresented some sections of the Act, causing unnecessary confusion and alarm, especially in light of the recent passage of the Narcotics Control Commission Amendment Bill 2023. It is my intention today to provide accurate information, thereby restoring a level of understanding, confidence, and trust in our legal and legislative process. Honourable members, at this juncture, it is essential to shed light on the historical framework that has led to us to pass this legislation. You all recall the Narcotics Control Commission Act was passed in 2020, as stated, numbered Act 1019. This was a pivotal legislation which transformed the Narcotics Control Board into a commission. The primary intent behind this statute was to retrofit the then existing National Narcotics Control Board, a body entrusted with the crucial task of supervising the handling of narcotic drugs and plants cultivated for narcotic purposes, alongside addressing other associated matters. Central to our discourse today is Section 43 of the aforementioned Act. This particular clause bestowed upon the Minister of Interior the authority, subject to the Commission's recommendations, to grant cultivation licenses for cannabis. These licenses, however, were specifically limited to cannabis with a tetrahydrocannabinol, which is usually shortened THC content, that did not exceed 0.3% on a dry weight basis, and the cultivation was to be geared towards industrial and medicinal purposes. Industrial because they use it to produce jute sacks, and medicinal because they use it for a lot of medicinal purposes. Now, that type, I'm informed that we don't even yet have the seeds in Ghana. And so we are yet to commence the cultivation of it, and through it you can extract fiber, apart from just using it for medicine. To underscore the intent of these licenses, subsection 2 of section 43 expressly stated that they should not extend to the cultivation of cannabis intended for recreational usage. Thus, the prohibition against unlawful cultivation, possession, and use of narcotics clearly outlined in sections 39 to 42 of this Act remained unaffected. Despite these intentions, the provision met a judicial challenge in the case of Ezuami Manam versus the Attorney General. The Supreme Court, in its wisdom, declared Section 43 to be unconstitutional, citing a failure to adhere to Article 106 of our Constitution, 1992, during the enactment of the provision. The landmark ruling of the Supreme Court on Section 43 of the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2020 necessitated a period of critical reflection and renewed legislative action from this House. The Constitution serves as our nation's guiding document, and any contravention within our statutes needs immediate redress. In response to the Court's determination of the unconstitutionality, the Minister for the Interior introduced the Narcotics Control Commission Amendment Bill 2023 to rectify the identified shortcomings. The Amendment Act introduced a new provision, Section 42A, into Act 1019. The objective of this insertion was to re-establish the Minister's discretionary power to issue cultivation licenses for specific strains of cannabis. The cultural condition being that such strains possess not more than 0.3% THC content on a dry weight basis. Importantly, the license for cultivation was expressly limited to industrial applications such as the production of fiber or seeds, or for medicinal uses that could potentially contribute to advancement in health care. It is imperative to understand and underline that the intention of this provision is not to endorse or legalize the recreational use or smoking of cannabis. We must dispel any such misinterpretation. The provision's design aims to strike a prudent balance between the harnessing of the industrial and medicinal potential of certain low THC cannabis strains and maintain our robust control on narcotics to ensure the safety and well-being of our society. The second schedule of the Act remains in full force, detailing an extensive list of penalties for unlawful activities associated with narcotics. Further, the sixth schedule of the Act unambiguously categorizes cannabis as a narcotic drug. These provisions underline our unwavering stance against the illicit use of narcotics, while simultaneously recognizing their potential for beneficial industrial and medicinal application. Honorable members, the law is there for all to use, and you have to read it carefully. I don't need to refer to the provisions anymore. But we have maintained all the stringent measures to make sure that it's only the beneficial uses that are allowed by the law. In conclusion, in the light of the foregoing, it becomes clear that our legislative actions, both past and present, are guided by a careful and considered approach. The evolution from the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2020 to the subsequent amendment in 2023 has been a journey of refining and enhancing our legal framework in response to evolving circumstances, judicial scrutiny, and the need for balance between potential benefits and social risk. It is imperative to reiterate, particularly in the face of the inaccurate media representations, that the purpose of our legislative actions has never been and is not now to promote or legalize the recreational use or smoking of cannabis. In conclusion, therefore, the House remains steadfast in its commitment to enforcing the law against the unlawful use of the cannabis. We will continue to act in a manner that upholds the Constitution, serves the public interest, and advances our nation's development. I want to implore all members of Parliament, and indeed all Ghanaians, to share and communicate this understanding so as to dispel misinterpretations and misinformation and foster a more informed dialogue on the matter. I reiterate, the cultivation, the manufacture, the processing, the production, the sale, the distribution, or the use of narcotic plants, including weed, marijuana, or synthetic or semi-synthetic drug, without lawful authority remains an offense and is punishable by our laws. I therefore call on the law enforcement authorities to continue to investigate, to prosecute, and to commit offenders to the sanctions of the law. With this, I want to thank honorable members for your attention and direct you in your advocacy during the recess to convey this message to all your constituents. Honorable members, I'm compelled to be copious in this matter because of the troubling nature of current trends. There are a lot of people now in the streets telling their colleagues that we have legalized the use of marijuana, of weed, of narcotics. We haven't done such a thing. You recall I drew your attention to it, and as a result of the importance we place on it, we decided not to have a sitting yesterday. Honorable members, it's important I bring you the greetings from the meeting which is being hosted by the Church of Pentecost at the Pentecost Convention Center in Gomoa, Fete. It started yesterday and is expected to end today. The two-day conference under the theme Moral Vision and National Development sought to bring together major stakeholders in national development for a sober reflection and dialogue toward developing a framework that significantly impacts and shapes the moral fiber of Ghana's development. Honorable members, the opening ceremony of the National Development Conference brought together the three organs of state, including the Vice President of the Republic, His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who represented the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. You are aware from the communication I read to you that he is out of the country presently. The leadership of this House and some members of the House, led by my good self, also participated in yesterday's forum. The Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokunu, was also present. We had two former presidents also honoring the invitation. We have the former president of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, and the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, being present. We had a host of ministers of state, a lot of the clergy, members of the diplomatic corps, and a delegation to represent the National Chief Imam, led by Sheikh Aremiyao Shaibu. A host of traditional leaders were there, queens, queen mothers, kings, and a lot of statements, heads of professional bodies, civil society organizations, security services, MMDCs, political functionaries of all divide. The chairman, the general secretaries of all the political parties were there. The Ghana Journalists Association, this is just to mention but a few, were all present to give their diverse contributions towards a secular discourse that engendered consensus building.
So that's the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbo, was speaking in clarifying what Parliament did with the legalization of cannabis. Well, that would be it for Eyewitness News tonight. My name is Umaru Sanda Amado. I did this with Akosia Otre. Production by Kobna Wilson and Sami Wiafi. Technical support from Daniel Squashi. and Edwin Kwakofi helped with new media. Thank you for listening. Eyewitness News returns tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Up next is Sister with Chris Carter. Listen.